The reason a lot of organizations struggle to create an inclusive and equitable culture, a culture where people can grow and thrive, a culture where people feel like they belong, rather than having to just fit into the spaces that have been created for them. It's because a lot of organizations apply a complicated approach to a complex problem. In fact, a lot of organizations, a lot of leaders use those words, complicated and complex, interchangeably when they're two separate things. A good example can be found in the automotive industry. I worked there for a number of years. It's probably around between 30 to 40,000 components it takes to make the average car. And those components come from roughly around 200 suppliers based all around the world. As massive and as crazy as that sounds, there is an approach to it. It's complicated, but there's a straightforward process. There are a set of rules, systems, processes, all of those different things in place to ensure that those suppliers make those parts. Now, bringing those parts that have been made together to then create the car, that's when you step into complexity. Because behind the components creation are people. We, as human beings, are complex. We are not complicated. When I say we are complex, that means that there are too many unknowns to be able to approach human beings as an algorithm. What might work for me might not work for someone else. We have so many different people involved in the process. You have culture clashes, you have good communication, bad communication, you have differing responsibilities, you have people looking at things in a micro and macro way, you have ego play, you have so many different things at play. That's why navigating the humans behind the creation process takes such a long time, and it slows the creation of things down. Now, if I take a step back from that example and you look at creating inclusive organizations, one of the biggest things that's come out of the Great Resignation and the Great Reshuffle and people sharing why they left their workplaces has been based on culture, has been based on the fact that people were treated as commodities, and they didn't like that. People had enough time during the pandemic to start to ask themselves the question of, what am I really doing here? Is this work really fulfilling me? Is it serving me? Is it helping me grow? Is it aligned to my values? And everyone had different responses. For those who felt like the work wasn't satisfying what their values were, they left, they moved on, because human beings are complex. It's like me going to an organization, which I had a lot of those conversations last year, where leaders are telling me, okay, we've got a culture problem, we've got an inclusion problem, we've got a diversity problem, and we want you to solve this in 3 months. I'm like, that's not possible. You can't solve it in 3 months. I can't come in and tell you, the next 3 months, this is going to happen. No, you're dealing with human beings. Therefore, it's going to take a longer period of time because you have to understand different things that lie behind different people. But until leaders actually make that mental shift, that mindset shift, and look at things and step into complexity, they're going to miss out on innovation, inclusion, agility, equity, curiosity, and so many more emerging practices that only happen when you operate in the complex domain. See, in the complex domain, you can't force things to happen. You have to create the conditions for them to happen. I want to use a good example of when I used to lead teams, and the first team I ever led on paper was an absolute mess. I had people who were way older than me, who were a lot more experienced than me. I was the only black person in that organization, let alone leading that team. So it was a car crash waiting to happen. But I made it work. How? Because I took the time to get to know my people. Like, I shared with them, I was open with them, I was vulnerable with them, I kept it real with them, I really focused on them, and in turn, they went hard for me, and our team was the highest performing team worldwide. This was a global company that was making stupid money. Why? Because I focused on my people. I got to know my people, I got to understand them as individuals, rather than just as numbers on a page. Are you applying complicated approaches to a complex solution? Once you start to understand the difference between both of them, it helps you to move forward. When you stop applying complicated approaches to complex problems, you start to see some change in your organization. As you step into 2022, that is my challenge to you.